Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be comparing a custom Glock 19 to the Palmetto State Armory Dagger. Let's check them out. For YouTube's purposes, in this video there's going to be no live ammunition involved. All the shooting footage was done on a safe range where we had our eyes, ears, all protection was used. So let's get into the video. So welcome back, everybody. My name is Joe. This is Shooting Gallery. If you're new to this type of content or this channel where you want to get gun reviews, gear reviews, some how-to tutorials, clean lubricate, a great podcast, please do me a favor to smash that subscribe button. And if you want to help us further, becoming a channel member is one of the best ways you can do it, or using the affiliates page, which is in the link in the description. Guys, I have been testing these two guns side by side. As you guys know, this is the Kit Kat build we did in conjunction with Brownells. We got a SCT manufacturing SCT 19 Glock 19 frame. We have their Brownells slide, Brownells parts. Trigger was the Timmy Alpha trigger that we got from Brownells, and we actually had this Cerakoted by my buddy over at Liberty Bell Firearms. Remember, if you use code JOJUICE, you're going to save 20% off on stuff like this. He did this custom. He's a great Cerakote. He also has laser stippling, so check that out. Then, recently, well, kind of recently, I was finally able to get in touch with Palmetto State Armory, and now I'm in a free state. I can work with them a lot easier, so they sent out this PSA Dagger Compact. This is a two-tone finish. You have the gray frame, slide. There's a couple different window cuts they had. I opted for this with suppressor height sights. We have the Gideon Optics Alpha on this gun, and we have a Goom Beam weapon mounted light. Guys, Goom Beams are the absolute shit. Look at that. You can use these in Streamlight TRL1HL holsters. It is a clone of them, but it's going to put out a lot more candela and lumens. Definitely should check them out. Affordably priced. Use code JOJUICE, 10% off your order. Alright, so now we got all that bull crap out of the way. Let's get into why you would choose between a Palmetto State Armory Dagger or a custom Glock 19. Alright, so let's get down to what you're looking for when you're determining which gun you're gonna buy or build. Now, the beauty of both these guns, you're able to kind of plug and play. Palmetto State Armory Dagger is pretty much a clone of a Gen 3 Glock 19. It takes most Glock 19 parts other than a few other, odds and ends. And then this is the SCT manufacturing SCT 19 frame. Now, this is a Glock 19 Gen 3 clone as well. It takes all Glock 19 parts. I got all the stuff from Brownells minus the optic and the barrel I got from Roscoe Manufacturing. Great barrels. So it all depends on, especially if you're a builder, if you're just somebody that wants something different from a traditional Glock 19, Glock 19 being the most popular handgun in America and probably throughout the world. Now, there's downsides to a standard Glock 19. You don't have the grip angle that you would have on an SCT 19 frame or a Palmetto State Armory Dagger. The stippling isn't the best, but again, the Glock is kind of the Honda Civic of the gun world, where you can kind of get them exactly where you want. A base Glock right now is sitting at around $650, give or take, where you can find them online. I was able to build this custom Glock 19 for just around $500 if you don't add it. This is before I changed the trigger out and everything like that. You can get the SCT 19 frame on Brownells right now, super cheap, under 50 shekels sometimes. The slides are around 100. The barrel I think is about 100, so that's $250. I got Ameriglow suppressor height sights, which are another like $60. And with a parts kit, with upper and lower completion kits, you're looking at around $5, just give or take. You can get some sales and discount codes and stuff like that, especially with Brownells. If anything over $150 or more, you can use code BOP10. As you guys know, proud BOP field agent. This gun, I would say, is one of my favorite handguns I've ever shot. The stippling, the grip angle, it does have the double undercut here, a deeper undercut right where your middle finger would be, so you're not going to get Glock knuckle as easy. The stippling is where it's at with this gun. But on the other hand, so let's consider the Palmetto State Armory Dagger. From a builder standpoint, again, it's a Glock 19 Gen 3 clone. So it's going to take the same parts, but Palmetto State Armory is really kind of catering towards the build at home community, where you can order a dagger frame for under $100 certain times, depending on the color and the size. You can get a full size or a compact, and now they have the new micro dagger, which is kind of the 43x style of frame. But you can get this particular gun right now stock without the optic and light, obviously, has the window cuts, has the suppressor height sights coming from the factory, okay stippling, and you're looking at around $400. So base price, you're about $500 for this without the included trigger, optic, and the Cerakote, obviously, or $400 on sale if you wanted to get it. Now, the good thing about the PSA Armory, Palmetto State Armory, you have a enlarged beaver tail. Your palm swell on the back is stippled. You have a different stipple pattern from a custom Glock 19 frame, like the SCT frame. It has your OEM trigger, so you're going to be at about 5.5, 6 pounds, between 4.5 and 5.5 pounds, depending on the day. But it takes Glock 19 magazines, so you can try using ETS group, which I don't really recommend. I've had so luck with them. P-Mags, KCI, OEM Glock mags. I know there's a couple other aftermarket mags that I'm forgetting, but the Palmetto State Armory Dagger is coming in to where they are affordable for the common man. They're able to literally arm the entire country with no issue, because they're coming in at an amazing price at around $400. You put the Gideon Optics Alpha on here, which gets you about, you can get them for about $230 on sale if you use code JOJUICE, 10% off at Gideon Optics. So you can save 10% on that. So call this around $600. You're at a Glock. But the reason why you would want a non-Glock is for certain features. Now let's get into price-wise, what is it worth it going with a custom Glock or just a Palmetto State Armory Dagger? So as we said before, the price is going to be probably one of the best determining factors. If you've had a Glock in the past, you know, okay, a stock Glock, there's stuff you want to improve upon. So the good thing about both these handguns is that they take the same parts for the most part. Now with this SCT 19 frame, and this build, we call it the Kit Kat build because it looks like a dark chocolate Kit Kat. Other than the OEM parts that are in here, I have upgraded the barrel to a Roscoe Manufacturing Bloodline barrel. I have opted to go with a Holosun 407K X2, it's the green dot, and I went with the Timney Alpha trigger. This is the burnt bronze trigger blade on here. So this is a customized trigger. So with the barrel, optic, and trigger, I've just probably added another $450, $500. Plus, with this Cerakote and this custom Cerakote, added another $200. So you're just shy of about maybe $950 to $1,000 just for a custom Glock. And we're not even talking magazine extensions, spare magazines, magwells if you ever wanted to do a magwell. There's gonna be some added cost to building a custom Glock like this. Now, as we said before, you can get this particular SKU number over on Palmetto State Armory right now, with minus the optic and the weapon light, for about $400. But if you wanted to get a custom color from the factory, you could get the frame for about $100, and then shop the sales. PSA is always running sales on Dagger parts. You can get everything from the slide, barrel, optics cut slides, and magazines, you name it, for very affordable pricing. So if you wanted to have, say, a gold or yellow, whatever they call it, their color of their frame, you can get the gold frame, a black slide, and then they have that gold Tenaford barrel for probably about the same money. Now, if you wanted to add the Timney Alpha trigger in this, they also sell Timney Alpha triggers on Palmetto State Armory for about $129 depending on the day. So right then and there, you're at about, say, $600, $650, maybe $700 if you get the trigger. So you're at $700, then $1,000. But again, you're looking to get something that's not a Glock, but it takes kind of all Glock parts. I'm at the point now where I'm updating all my systems of what I use to where it's shooting mostly Glock mags on everything other than like a rifle or a shotgun or something like that, and they're all having a red dot installed. So again, both these are optics cut. The good thing about Brownells is that they're Brownells Glock 19 or Glock Gen 3 slides. They're always around between $100 and $129 depending if you get them complete or stripped, and most of them are pretty much RMR cut. Now the other side of the table, when you look at the Palmetto State Armory Dagger, the slide options, you can have the option to get a couple different slide cuts on the slide itself, but also the optics, you can get RMSC or RMR, you can get Doctor Cut, which I believe takes the Vortex, there's another, I think Delta Point, I forget what they call that. Neither of these do take the acro. I think Brownells does have the acro cut. I have seen those, but Palmetto State Armory at the moment does not offer an acro cut. So if you want to get like an aim point acro or Gideon Optics Mediator, which would take the acro, or the Viridian Optics RFX 44, that would also take you would have to get a RMR slide and get a acro to RMR conversion plate. So you can get the mailbox reticles. So that would be kind of the price point with that. But again, it's the affordability of getting this rather than spending the $600 on your stock Glock. And then adding stipple, Cerakote trigger, optics, sometimes slide milling. Right then and there, you're over about $1,200. And that's including labor, shipping, and stuff like that. You know, unless you're able to install a lot of this stuff yourself, you're still going to be at about $1,200. But if you buy stuff like these two guns, you can get it at a considerably less cost. Now, shootability between the Palmetto State Armory Dagger and this custom Glock 19 that we built using the SCT 19 frame is going to be a lot different, but also the same. Both guns have enlarged finger groove, enlarged undercuts, so I'm not going to get Glock knuckle. I typically tend to shoot the SCT 19 frame a lot more accurate than I would the PSA Dagger, and I shoot the PSA Dagger a lot more accurate than a stock Glock 19. The reason why I think with this is the stippling is a lot better than, say, the traditional stock PSA Dagger. My biggest complaint about the PSA Dagger, and I said this in my original video or my full review that I have, I'll link it either in here on the screen or in the description if I remember to do it while I'm editing. The stippling on this I wish was a lot more aggressive than a stock Glock 19. The SCT 19 frame probably has some of the best stippling in the business. All right, this is the most comfortable. It's not too aggressive, but we can kind of overcome certain disadvantages to either the Dagger or the SCT 19 frame. This is a lot more comfortable to shoot with red dots. This same thing, but again, the stippling on this frame allows me to stay on target easier than this. I wish they added some type of stippling right here where you would call it a gas pedal, but you know, again, we're kind of splitting hairs here at that point. But they're both very accurate, and they're more comfortable to shoot than the standard Glock, which I would tend to draw people to either the PSA Dagger or the Glock or the SCT frame. So shooting these guns are going to be a lot more comfortable, I would say, than shooting your standard Glock 19. The only thing I would consider if you wanted to go from a standard Glock 19 to a Dagger or a custom build that you would get, from, there's so many different Glock frames out there. I've tried a good amount of them, and there's still some that I haven't tried yet. But the only thing I've found is getting holsters. Holsters for this, as of this moment, I just found out last night, North Coast Tactical. You guys know I love North Coast Tactical. I carry them pretty much every day when I'm carrying a Glock. I have been able to get a Palmetto State Armory Dagger that fits in the tuck holster that's cut for a Glock 19. It's a little bit tight, but it works. But North Coast Tactical does make holsters for actually both of these, and he can get them cut for a Streamlight TLR1 or Goon Beam if you're cool and you have one of the cool kids that have that. But you're able to get holsters for this. Duty holsters, so if you're, say, your Safari Lands or your Black Rhino Concealment or, I don't know, Alien Gear, you're not going to get kind of duty style level 3 retention hip drop leg holsters for these types of frames. With this, I think with the Palmetto State Armory Dagger, as long as that holster was cut for a certain light, I have heard that it does work. So your holster compatibility is going to be probably the biggest determining factor. If you're able to check out North Coast Tactical, I would recommend it, or fattac.com. Guys, fattac.com is where you can get all of our merch now. I don't have any. I'm waiting for it to come in. We're going to be doing an ad for the podcast. We're signing them on for another sponsor for the podcast. But they do make Palmetto State Armory Dagger holsters for the Fattac holster on fattac.com. So check them out if you're looking to get a holster. But holster compatibility is going to be pretty much your only stopping point. So we've gone over price, we've gone over parts compatibility, we've gone over holsters. Let's get into what I would honestly choose. So at the end of the day, if I was going to choose between the standard Glock 19 and a aftermarket or a clone of a Glock 19, I know it hurts me to say this because I truly love the SCT 19 frame, but I would go with a PSA Armory Dagger, or Palmetto State Armory Dagger. I keep saying PSA Armory. It's just, we're going to leave that in. But the Palmetto State Armory Dagger is something I would go with just because the reliability so far, I'm just at about 700 rounds with this gun. I have been shooting a lot lately, and I do like the fact that I can have the aftermarket accessibility to where I can trick out a ton of stuff. This is still pretty much stock minus the red dot. The PSA Dagger is probably one of the most underrated Glock clones out there, and I know that they're not really a Glock clone because it's not a Glock, but it takes all Glock parts. This is something that I would definitely spend my own money on. I personally bought this. Yes, I bought it at a discount, but I paid my own money for this as well as this. I love shooting this gun, but it's just now the fact that holster compatibility is a little bit difficult. And again, this is very custom. I can do the same thing to the Dagger, which I probably will. I would want to send this to Jay Bell over at Liberty Bell Firearms to get some better stippling on the gun, but for the most part, the Dagger is going to be able to work for you in so many different capacities. Like when I press this out, this is, without a shadow of a doubt, the most natural pointing pistol I've ever shot. Same thing with this, but again, this is it's a little bit fatter, obviously, in the grip. I think if this was stippled like this, we'd be talking different. But between the comparison of both these guns, I would choose the PSA Armory Dagger, and especially throw the Gideon Optics Alpha on here. This is probably one of my favorite red dots that are in that, not budget, but these things are tested. A lot of people have tested these things. I know my buddy Putang Clan, he has put this thing through the ringer. I love the Alpha. I would love to try the Omega just because it has a larger viewing window, but from going forward, I'm probably going to start converting all my pistols to take the Gideon Optics Alpha. Guys, and I'm not just saying that because I'm friends with the guys over at Gideon Optics and they're like family, but I truly believe in their product. I would definitely spend my money on that, and I'm willing to literally convert all my red dot pistols to Gideon Optics because, again, their barrier to entry isn't as expensive as, say, like Holosun and Trijicon, but the quality is probably a #1 match. I would go with Gideon. I would defend my life with Gideon Optics. But guys, thank you for watching today's video. We really appreciate it. If you could do me a favor, smash this like button. If you have a different point of view from either of these builds or these guns, comment down below and let's get that conversation going. And if you want to see me compare either of these guns to other guns in my collection or down the road, I do have another pistol coming in I can't really talk about because I'm waiting for it to come in. So we're going to definitely be comparing that to a couple other guns. But comment down below what other guns would you like to see the PSA Dagger be compared against, or even the Glock 19 clone like this SCT 19 frame we have affectionately called a Kit Kat build. Make sure you subscribe and become a channel member. Use the affiliate page below to do all your shopping. It does kind of help support the channel if you want to get extra discounts and all that good stuff. Our merch store is down there as well on the affiliates page. So stay safe, stay shooting. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.